When I first started losing fat, I made the mistake a lot of beginners make. I kept jumping from one diet to another, going to the gym every day, worrying about what supplements to take and trying to eat perfectly, all of which was way too much in the beginning. But if I had to start all over again today, this is the system that I would use. It's simple, it's sustainable, and it's beginner friendly. And if you stick with this, you will absolutely lose fat, feel more confident, build more muscle, and just improve your overall quality of life. The first thing I would do actually has nothing to do with training or nutrition. It's this. Atomic Habits by James Clear. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. When it comes to your fat loss, you're only as good as the systems that you put in place to make sure that you actually do the right things to lose fat. Throughout the book, there's a simple framework that James Clear uses. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. After you read this, it makes it a lot easier to build the habits and do the actions that you need to lose fat. You need these systems and frameworks in your life because when the stress of life smacks you in the face, you have things to fall back on and you don't just roll over when things get hard. There's three main parts of your life that feed into fat loss: training, nutrition, and lifestyle. And we're gonna start with training because here's the thing. I wouldn't actually change the first thing that I actually did, which was starting to exercise more before anything else. Seeing physical progress from exercise is a lot easier and a lot faster than seeing progress from improving your diet. The physical changes can help to motivate you a lot more, which then you can channel into improving your diet. First thing you want to do is focus on building a bulletproof routine when it comes to training. Something that you enjoy doing, it's easy to stick to, and it doesn't take mountains of effort to complete. When you first start training, don't set your goal as completing a session. Set your goal as just making it to the gym. Just being in the same location as the gym, you build up the habit of you being someone that goes to the gym, and then you can associate yourself as being a healthier person because of that. Literally just by showing up and sitting in the car park for 5 minutes, you're building up the habit and associating yourself as someone who goes to the gym. Then you can improve it from there. This is where the framework from Atomic Habits can come in. If you're gonna go train in the morning, put your alarm on some folded up clothes, then put your alarm in those clothes somewhere where you would have to get up to turn your alarm off. That way, you've woken up, you're already standing, you're holding your phone that was on top of your gym clothes. It's pretty easy to get dressed from there. If you're gonna train in the afternoon, pack your gym clothes. Don't add all these extra steps of going home, sitting on the couch, mustering up the motivation to go, getting changed, driving back to the gym. Just finish work, go to the gym. Don't make it harder than it already is. In this beginning phase, you're also gonna try everything. Every machine, every kind of exercise. You wanna find things that you actually like doing because we're gonna need that for later. Easing into that normally takes 2 to 4 weeks. But once you got that routine in place and you enjoy training, that's when we can move on and start developing a proper training program. This is where I fucked around and wasted so much progress. See, the most amount of muscle growth, you need to train a muscle group 2 times a week. You can do that training 3 days a week, you can do that training 4 days a week, you can even do it training 5 days a week. It doesn't matter how often you go, but start going as least as you possibly can. It's a lot easier to speed up than it is to slow down. And it's better to leave wanting to do more than being sick of the things that you're doing. So personally, best thing, start off going 3 days a week. There's a 3-day training program in the description below. It's free, but finish watching this first. The only other thing you need to see muscle growth is to train hard. Think an 8 out of 10. That's really the only things you need to do when it comes to your training if you're just starting out. If you just touch a weight, your muscles are gonna grow, let's be honest. And if I'm being honest, you're gonna start seeing positive progress to your mood, your energy levels, your overall lifestyle in general in 2 to 4 weeks, which is when you could start to look at improving the next aspect of your fat loss, your nutrition. This is by far the biggest lever that you can pull when it comes to your fat loss. Training is how you get your results, but nutrition is how you show them to the world. So to start improving it, we're actually not even going to touch our diet or change anything about it. The first thing you're gonna do is start tracking your body weight every day. There's a study from Japan, they had 2 groups of people. One group tracked their body weight every day, the other group didn't. The people that literally just stood on the scales every day, they lost 6.5 kilos more than the group that didn't. You're just making yourself more aware and you're priming your day with fat loss in mind. The other thing you're gonna do is you're gonna track everything that goes into your mouth. You don't even have to try and eat healthier. Just literally have a log of everything that goes into you. That includes every bit of food, every sip of drink, all the little handful of nuts that are just a snack. Write it all down somewhere so that you have a log of everything that you've eaten. You're making yourself more aware of the actions and habits you've taken in your life that may have gotten you to the point that you are, which makes it a lot easier to know and understand the things that you actually need to change so that you can lose fat. Going back to Atomic Habits, wherever the fuck it is, make it obvious. Put a sticky note on the mirror in the bathroom to tell yourself to weigh in every morning. Have a tracking app on the home screen of your phone so that you actually remember to track the food that you're eating. Make it as easy as possible for you to remember doing these things. The thing that I didn't do for the longest time was tracking my calories. Yes, you don't have to track your calories to lose fat, but think about it like a road trip. You can get to your destination without using a GPS, but there's probably going to be a lot of wrong turns, a lot of dead ends, and a lot of closed roads. Tracking calories is like having a GPS and taking the shortest route to the destination. To lose fat, you have to be in a calorie deficit where your body isn't getting enough energy to function and has to find that extra energy somewhere else. Somewhere else being your fat tummy, or to put it the nicer way, the stored fat on your body. So first we have to find our maintenance calories. Go to the TDEE website and just plug in all your numbers. That way, it'll spit your maintenance calorie number out, and then you can take 300 to 500 calories off that. That will put you in a calorie deficit. But what we want to do is we want to make it easy. Meal prepping is by far the best thing you can do for fat loss. You cook your meals and then you can pre-log them so that you know everything that's in them. How many calories is there? How much protein? How much fiber? How much carbs? How much fat? All of it. This means there's less decision making in the day-to-day, there's less friction, there's less mental fatigue, and you're gonna have more mental energy to spend in other parts of your life to make fat loss easier. The second biggest mistake I ever made when it came to losing fat with my nutrition was protein. Yes, protein is super important and you need it for muscle growth. It helps to keep you full, but you don't want to overconsume it, which is what I was doing. Eating way too much of it and tanking my overall health and not giving myself enough energy or anything else in my diet that I actually needed to function normally. So how much should you be eating a day then? At max, you want to stay in the range of 2 to 2.5 grams per kilo of body weight. Personally, you should try and get all of that from animal sources. It's a better quality protein than anything else. Sorry to break it to you vegans. But if you have to use something like protein powder to hit your protein goals, that's also more than fine, as long as you're hitting your daily protein goal. No one wants to sit around eating chicken and rice all day, which is why we take it back to Atomic Habits. Make it attractive. The internet is a never-ending black hole of high-protein, low-calorie recipes. Experiment with them. Find ones that you like. Find different kinds of protein sources that you like. Tailor and experiment everything to yourself until you find 3 to 5 meals that you really enjoy eating. Then, just keep recycling through them. It doesn't have to be this extravagant-looking meal, just something that ticks the right boxes and has a good amount of calories and a good amount of protein that you enjoy eating, obviously. Don't force yourself to eat some shit because you saw some bodybuilder online eating it. Quick side question I get from a lot of clients: are carbs and fats bad for you? No, no food is bad for you. The poison is in the dosage. As long as you stay in your calorie deficit, it doesn't matter how many carbs or fats you eat. You eat whatever you're comfortable with and that you enjoy eating. By far the biggest mistake I made though when it came to my nutrition for fat loss was trying to eat perfectly. Only eating healthy or whole foods, cutting out everything that I enjoyed. The easiest way to fuck everything up with your diet is to cut out the shit that you actually enjoy eating. Then it's really gonna feel like a diet and restricting every ounce of joy that's in your life. You don't want results that last for 5 minutes, you want results that last for a lifetime. So by you cutting out foods that you always enjoy eating, that's not gonna be sustainable for you. So make them fit into your calorie deficit. At the end of the day, and it's such a shit thing to say because everyone says it, but 80 to 90% whole foods, 10 to 20% of the shit that you enjoy eating. Consistency over perfection. It's great to be perfect, but if the diet's shit and you crash out on it after 2 weeks, it wasn't perfect because it made you stop dieting to lose fat. The perfect diet is just one that you can stick to. And if sweet treats are included in that, more than fair. This is a massive problem online that you should also be aware about. People that are saying that you are the worst person in the world if you're eating processed foods. So if someone on Instagram Reels is saying something like, never eat this, don't ever touch this, this is the worst thing for your health, they're full of shit and they don't understand people's real life circumstances and what would actually benefit them when it comes to losing fat. Because the average lifestyle is going to eat up whatever advice that they're giving and spit it out onto the ground. 80% of the results that you will get will come from being in a calorie deficit. So you may as well focus solely on being in a calorie deficit, then fixing up the last 20% later. If you have to think more than 30 seconds about it to understand how it actually works, it's probably not as important as you think. Which takes me to my final aspect of fat loss for beginners: lifestyle. People will slam down creatine, greens powders, other supplements, ice baths, saunas, health protocols, all of these when it comes to losing fat. But really, there's only 2 that actually matter you should be trying to do every single day. The first one that I neglected forever is daily steps. Not just for the health benefits that you see from them, but you need to start associating yourself as someone who is an active person. If we take it back to Atomic Habits, does this behavior help me become the type of person I wish to be? We want to be able to describe ourselves as a physically active person, and daily steps is one of the best ways to do that. So how many should we be doing a day then? 7 to 10,000 every day. Does that mean you have to do that every day? No. If your goal is 10,000 and you did 7 for the day, that's okay. You at least tried. But if you come to me and you go, yeah, so I only did 1,000 steps a day, you didn't even try. We want to make sure that you're getting up and moving your body around. And would you rather go to the gym or would you rather go for a 15-minute walk? So make it easy. Go for little 10-minute walks after every meal. That way you're getting steps in and it also helps with digesting that meal. Go for walks with your family or your friends. Put on a podcast you've been meaning to listen to. Just do something that is enjoyable while you walk. The other thing that made my fat loss way harder was sleep. Studies have compared two groups of people, one who got 8 hours of sleep and one who got 5. Out of the people that got 5 hours of sleep, they lost 50% less fat and more muscle than the people that got 8. Sleep can control how full you feel after a meal, how hungry you are throughout the day, your energy levels, your mood levels, literally everything when it comes to fat loss, but also your overall lifestyle in general. So you want it to be as good as it could possibly be. Now, I could go around and say, yeah, so I aim to get 7 to 9 hours a night. That's not feasibly possible for a lot of people, I know. So what are some things that you could do to improve your sleep without just saying, yeah, just sleep longer? 10 hours before bed, stop drinking caffeine. Caffeine can ruin your sleep, especially your deep sleep, which is when all your recovery happens. 3 hours before bed, have your last meal. That way your body isn't working to digest all of that food and it's in a resting state, which prepares you to go to sleep. 2 hours before bed, don't drink any water. Everyone knows the bane of your existence is when you have to wake up at 1:37 a.m. to go and take a piss. So stop drinking water 2 hours before bed. That way you can take a pee right before your head hits the pillow and then you won't have to wake up. And finally, 1 hour before bed, turn off all overhead lights. No, that's not the TV or your phone. Our brains are still caveman specs. So the way that overhead lights hit our eyes, it kind of acts like the sun and it tells our body it's not actually time to go to sleep yet. So you're not in a fully rested state. That's a breakdown of some of the things you can do. There's a whole list down below of more ways that you can improve your sleep. It's free, it's in the description. Just finish this video first. That takes me to my final points that were the icing on the cake of fat loss being ruined for me. Not taking enough progress photos and not focusing on scale victories. My God, do I wish that I had more photos and videos of me when I started. I barely have any. When you lose all your fat, and you will want documentation of everything. What you were eating, what you looked like, what you trained like. This is just a general life tip as a whole. Document everything. You want to understand the journey that you had to go through when you were losing fat. If you're having a shit day at work, record yourself saying, I had a fuck day at work and I want to go have a bath with a fucking toaster. It makes the wins feel so much bigger to see everything that you overcame along the way. You want photo and video evidence of everything. Which takes me to my last point. Not focusing on non-scale victories. Document every single win you go through. Whether that's your mood increased, whether your energy levels increased, whether your clothes started fitting better. Write it down somewhere or take a video of you explaining how excited you are, how it makes you feel, how happy you are to see that progress. For the longest time, and it still happens to me now, seeing the scales go up makes you want to go and die. But there are so many things that can go into your scale weight. How much sleep you got the night before, how much water you had the day before, how much salt you had the day before. If your stress levels are too high, you might be holding on to more water. You might not be digesting your food properly, so there's food waste sitting in your gut. So many things can affect your scale weight. So even though we know all of this, seeing the scales go up by 400 grams overnight makes you want to just die and binge eat the shit out of your life again. It sucks. So try not to focus so much on your scale weight and don't tie every ounce of self-worth when it comes to your fat loss to the number on the screen. Focus on the day-to-day things that actually improve your life. Is your energy better? Do your clothes fit better? Can you just move easier in general? That will make your fat loss a lot better and keep the ball rolling and keep your motivation high. That's really it. If I had to lose fat again, that is everything that I would tell my younger self 4 years ago. Losing fat doesn't have to be this whole complicated process that eats into every single aspect of your life and takes away from everything. It really just comes down to the simple things. Eating in a calorie deficit, going to the gym 3 to 5 times a week, doing 7 to 10,000 daily steps, and trying to improve your sleep as much as possible. If you only did those 4 things, you would see 80% of the results for 20% of the effort. If you want to work together, help people exactly like you who are trying to lose fat, build muscle, become more confident, and just improve their overall quality of life in general, there's a link below that explains the structure and systems that I give you to make that easier. So check that out. There's a 6-week money back guarantee. So if you aren't happy with it, just email me and I'll refund you in full. There's also the free stuff there too. So check that out. And if you're looking for more ways to make your fat loss better, this is all the lessons that I've learned after 4 years of losing fat. So go check it out.